Hello, everyone. Welcome to the market simulation call for independent releases 2022. My name is Anshuman Vaidya. I'm your market simulation lead, and today is April 11, 2022. Calls and webinars are recorded for stakeholder convenience, allowing those who are unable to attend to listen to the recordings after the meetings. The recordings will be publicly available on the ISO webpage for a limited time following the meetings. The recordings and any related transcription should not be reprinted without the ISO permission. We'll follow the following agenda today, talk about map stage availability. We'll talk about the connectivity testing timelines for independent releases 2022. Then we'll talk about the system interface changes that are coming with it. And then we'll talk about the different initiatives as part of the independent releases 2022, the structured scenario registration details, and then we'll talk about the initiatives separately. For map stage availability, you can always log into portalmap.kaiser.com to get up-to-date system information. Currently, we don't have any maintenance scheduled on map stage. And we have a general weekly maintenance window of Friday. Any questions regarding map stage availability? All right, moving on. So for map stage connectivity testing for this release, we are in the connectivity testing week for RDRR project for cyber rules. And we are also, will continue to be in the connectivity testing phase for RSEE project until 5/18 for settlements. Any questions regarding these timelines? All right, moving on. We have the following system interface changes coming with this release for Cyber, Oasis, BAYOP, and CMRI. Trang, do you have any updates regarding these system interface changes?
Thanks, Anshuman. So for the only update since Thursday's kickoff call when we covered this was that BAYOP for the resource efficiency evaluation enhancements that submit demand response. So we had that targeted for, I believe, May for connectivity. So this one, the API may come even later after we start the simulation for RSEE. So I've set that back to TBD for the map stage environment, and we'll work through specifying when that'll be available for the UI and then the API, but those will likely come separately with the UI first. And that those are, oh, one other update, I'm sorry, is that the CMRI tech spec, draft tech spec for RSE, we had planned to publish that by last week, and that is the ETA for that tech spec for CMRI is now by the end of the week. So please take note of that too. And then just overall for RSE, again, we plan to deliver the UIs and earlier, and then the APIs later, and the tech spec will just then be needed for the API. So those are the two changes today. Any questions? Thanks, Anshuman.
Thank you.
We also, sorry, one more thing, I'm sorry. We also have the technical user group tomorrow, our normal forum, and in the technical user group, we do plan on covering the tech specs for Oasis that were published on March 24th. So if you're interested or have questions, please tune into the talk tomorrow for the Oasis review of those tech specs for transmission service and resource efficiency. Thanks, Anshuman, back to you.
Thank you. Thank you for the updates, Trang. And any other questions regarding system interface changes? All right, moving on. We have not made any changes from the last meeting we had for these three projects that are coming in for the independent releases. We are in the connectivity testing for the RDRR, the first project, and we'll be continuing with the structured scenario for this project on 19th. Starting 19th of next week. We do not have the time frames as of now of when we'll be raising and reducing the bid cap for this particular project, but we will have some trading hours for you by the next meeting. For transmission service and market scheduling priorities phase 1, we'll have a code drop that will be available for market participants testing on 3rd of May, and we'll have structured scenario for this project on 5th of May. For resource sufficiency evaluation enhancements phase 1A project, we'll have a code drop by 19th of May, and we are in the process of generating a structured simulation document for this particular project, which should be available this week. Any questions regarding any of these timelines for these 3 projects? All right, moving on. So currently we have the structured scenario registration by April 7, 2022, but which is in the past. So if you still want to participate in the RDRR project, which is starting this week, and the connectivity this week and the structured scenario the week after, please let us know. We'll do our best to accommodate for the late registration. Also, I would like to say thank you for all the registration that we have received by now, and we'll get back to you on that email to confirm your registration by end of today. Any questions regarding this? Thank you. We'll move on to the next one. Now, for the individual projects, RDRR project, the timeline is from April 11 to May 6th. April 11 is starting this week as connectivity, structured scenarios on April 19th, and the required structured scenario document is available over here. Anybody has any questions specific to this RDRR project? All right, moving on. Then we have transmission service and market scheduling priorities phase 1 project. Again, as I mentioned, timeline is May 3rd to May 20. We'll do structured scenarios on May 5th, and the structured scenario document link is available on the slide here. Anybody has any particular questions regarding this project? All right, moving on. And for resource sufficiency evaluation enhancements phase 1, we are settling every Tuesdays and Thursdays in map stage through the end of May. And for any over and under charge code, by 329 date, the ISO will be allocated to, and starting with trade at 331, ISO is not being allocated. So you might want to take note of that change. We're planning to start the sim market simulation for this project on May 19th, and we'll be publishing the scenarios for it this week, hopefully by tomorrow, 4/12. Any questions regarding this project? All right, moving on. That's all I had for today's study conference. The next is scheduled on April 14th at 2 p.m. I'll open up this forum for any other questions that we can talk about here.
Yes, hi Anshuman, good afternoon. This is Chun Yu from PG&E. I do have one question. I think this is maybe for Trang. Since CMRI, it's going to be, the tech spec is going to be delayed. Do you see this impact any existing timeline that is already established? Thanks, Chun Yu. That's a great question. And my answer is no at the moment. And the reason why is because we've already mentioned that our strategy for the delivery of RSEE is going to be prioritizing the core market and settlements functionality to be in production by 6/1, and then the UI for transparency, including the OASIS and CMRI changes. We're targeting that also 6/1, and then the API would come later. And so the API is related to, of course, the adoption of the API component, which we're already planning to released to production after 6/1. And then in terms of the market simulation, that same prioritization and sequence will also be in place. So we do open that up, and you know, I look for any feedback that you have for starting the market simulation with just the UI changes for Oasis and CMRI, and then having the API come later if that causes, you know, if that causes any issues. Same with production. But at this point, with the tech spec being delayed, again, it should not impact the delivery of the UI sooner. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Jania. Thank you, Trang. Any other questions here that we can address? All right, well, thank you everyone for joining the call. We'll see you back again on April 14th.